Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Wednesday here on the Pagan Perspective. I'm your host, Eric, and this week we are talking about working with the elements. This week, our topic comes to us from Wild Silverwolf. We're not supposed to answer all of the questions in here. Most of this stuff you can just look up. But the first question we are going to get to is when one finds out what element they wish to be working with, what would you suggest one do? And the second of which is, are you now or have you ever worked with a particular element? If so, which one, and how did you work with it? So the first thing I want to address is the fact that I am sans shirt at the moment, and you'll just have to bear with me because it was a very long, hot day at work, and I want to just immediately put on a different shirt to get all soiled, sweaty, and gross. But when you find out what element you want to work with, what would I suggest you do is immerse yourself in it. It seems a little bit simpler than it truly is at the end of the day. What I would suggest you do is immerse yourself in that element, however possible. Obviously, if you're working with fire, and I'm talking about I'm talking about the four basic elements, which is earth, air, fire, and water. You cannot immerse yourself in fire safely, so don't do that. Don't do it. But that only comes as a secondary part of immerse yourself in it in a way that is safe for you by, say, if you have the ability to build a controlled fire, do so and then study it and think very hard and meditate on it. When I say meditate, I don't mean sit and wait for information to come to you. You need to think actively during this meditation by trying to put yourself in the place of the element. Now, I've stated this before, and I found it to be a very effective practice when working with a specific element, whether it be air, fire, water, or earth. I happen to be an earth sign. I was born in May, so I'm a Taurus, which a lot of you may not want to do the math on that, but I was born in May as a Taurus. So I am an earth sign. It's something that does kind of come naturally to me. I don't have any real draw to any of the other three elements, but I have worked with all of them because I found it to be a necessary thing to understand how to make that work. So when I wanted to learn more about fire, yes, I went in to find out what the chemical reactions are and how the energy is released and all of the scientific things that I could find out about fire. But then I would build fires in my fire pit and watch them for hours, and it is an amazingly fun thing to do, in my opinion. I happen to be a bit of a, pyro nerd myself. But I would build fires and then I would watch them and then I would add wood to them and I would see what the fire did and did not like and how to coax the fire into different colors with different woods and different heats and different angles of placing the wood into the fire and what direction the fire would move and things of that nature. Just watching it do its thing, and I would either take notes, which most of the time I did not because it was something that I wanted to have in my head as opposed to on paper, simply because I wanted to watch it and I wanted to experience it firsthand without being distracted by taking notes. So that's one thing that I recommend if you have enough memory. If you can keep those things in mind long enough to write them down. Oftentimes when I do stuff like that, what I would call research and meditation, I have to do it several times to get that information pretty solid in my head, at least long enough to write it down. But one of the things that I would highly recommend is doing those observations and that meditation, and then trying to put yourself in seeing the world from the perspective of that element. Air wants to move. Air also wants to move things around, and communication through air is required with the vocal vibrations and the whatnot and the hootenanny, so that you guys can hear what I am saying and the words that I am communicating. Granted, they are coming to you via data stream of some sort, but then they hit your speakers and the speakers vibrate and they cause the air to move, and then you can understand, magically speaking, what I'm actually saying to you. So, that's one specific way that I have learned that air wants to move communication from one person to another. One of the things that I have learned about water is that it continues to want to be inside of whatever it is touching. If it can't, it's kind of an upsetting thing for water. These are personal realizations that I've made, personal gnosis that I have made over the years, that water wants to enter into whatever it is touching, whether that be soil or your body or the air or whatever it is touching. One of the things it wants is to be inside of whatever it's touching. And, I can say that over and over and over again, and you guys are going to have to experience it for yourselves to understand whether or not I'm right, because I feel one way, and that doesn't make a fact. That just makes it the truth for me. Now, when you're talking about Earth, you have to get a little creative sometimes about learning what Earth wants, because oftentimes it moves in such a slow and utterly incomprehensible, at least to us human beings for the most part, moves in such a slow rhythm and such a slow cycle that it's difficult to just sit down and meditate with it for a while and figure out what Earth wants. And I'm not giving that information to you guys specifically. You're going to have to go out and figure out what it wants. But you do have to get creative by thinking about Earth in terms of you being Earth and you being the specific elements that that you're trying to study. That is my biggest recommendation in doing so, is to immerse yourself in any safe way possible into the element, and then try to view your surroundings and view the world and the cosmos, even if you want to go that far, as that element would also view it. How does fire see the universe? How does fire see its place in the universe? How does Earth, and not the planet, but the element, how does it see its place in it? Where does it see itself in the universe? And where does it see itself does it see itself as a basis of its surroundings? Is it the base element? Does it feel so proud and kind of, does it have that sort of feeling? Is it a proud thing that Earth feels that it is the base element of the universe because matter is made up of it? So, things to think about. One of those, that's all I can really tell you, is to immerse yourself in it and try to experience existence from the element's point of view. The other one, I don't know if we've actually answered in my ramblings here. Are you now, or have you worked with a particular element? If so, which one, and how did you work with it? Well, I have given examples of how I have worked with some of the elements over the years. And am I working with a particular element? No, I am not. If anything comes up that I feel I am lacking on anymore, that is when I go into trying to work with that specific element specifically. Sorry, vocabulary is kind of failing me at the end of the day. But I had a pretty good grasp on it. I've spent the time in my past practice trying to figure out not only how do the elements see themselves, but each other, and what do they do, and what do they expect, and especially, and this is my favorite part, what do they want? Anyhow, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to post those in the comments section below. I know this video was a little bit longer than mine usually are, but I really enjoy talking elementally. So, again, comments, questions, leave them below. Thanks for watching, everybody, and of course, until next time, Odin be with you.